Alright, a little video about buying a property. So, it's real simple to start. If you are to contact me and you want to start looking around, it's all free. The only time you ever get charged, as a buyer, you don't get charged. You end up paying for the down payment on the property if you don't get the FHA assistance, however, which I'll talk about in a second. But closing costs you'd have to pay for. But other than that, my commission is the buyer's agent, or the selling agent. It's kind of confusing, but it comes out of the seller's pocket. So and it's a nice free process all the way up until closing for you as the buyer. So what you'd do first is you would contact a lender, which I like to work with Eagle Home Mortgage with a Sarah Pape is her name, and you'd contact her. She'd garner some information from you, and then she'd be back to you pretty quick with an estimate on what you could afford, with how much money you make, with what your credit is, what we could do, and then I would take over from there and start looking at properties that are around the parameters that you have and that you wish for. How many rooms, how big the property, how big the house, all that within the parameters of what you can afford, given that the lender has given you an estimate of what you can do and what they can do for you. So then I would just email you links to houses, and I could send a whole bunch of them at once. You can look through, see what you like. We can go take a look, and then if you end up liking it and everything meets the right parameters, we can put an offer on it and you can be a homeowner. From there, it can get complicated. It depends on the property. I just had one that took 2 months, but there was a few things that were not taken care of on the seller's side that they really should have taken care of before they even put it on the market. So most of the time that's not going to happen, and we'll be able to tell pretty quick with an inspection, which an inspection you are more than likely, as a buyer, you're going to pay for that. So that's one thing to be prepared for, to pay for when you end up liking a property, is the inspection. But when it comes to the lending side, the absolute best that, in my personal opinion, is the FHA backed loan, because they have a down payment assistance, which you may have to pay back in installments each month over a period of time, and then your payment comes down per month, or in some cases you don't have to pay it back at all. It's just a gift, but I believe that depends on your income as well. So there's the FHA loan, which has certain parameters that are a bit stricter than like a conventional loan. Conventional loan, you're going to have to come in with 5 to 10% down. So let's say you have a $200,000 cap out, and you find a $200,000 house. It's going to be anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 down, and that's just on the loan. That's not including the closing costs. So you need a decent amount of either equity in the current property you're going to be selling, or a decent amount of cash to go toward that. So conventional, can be a good option for people who have a bit more money on hand. But if you don't have as much money on hand, of course, FHA is a great way to go. But also, if you like the rural areas, there's USDA, which is no down payment, zilch down payment. And that it has to be in certain areas. It can't be within a city. It has to be pretty much has to be rural. It has to be a bit out there. But I can also that can also be a part of my search parameters if I'm looking for something like that for you, if that's what you're wanting. Because let's say you have a $250,000 cap, and we find a place that's $225,000, $230,000, and it's in the USDA area. Well, USDA is going to have its own cap that it'll put on you, beside the lender. But anyway, those are some options for financing a property, and just so you know, if you're looking into buying, not to be too intimidated. It's not nearly as crazy, chaotic, or difficult as it may seem, and not everybody's story is the same. It could be a very complicated process. It could be a very easy process that goes without a hitch. There's a lot of different contingencies involved that determine what happens. So I would never make the promise that it's going to be a nice, easy process. But I want you to know that if you are to talk to me about buying or selling, that I got your back. And I'm not going to let anything knock you down. I'm not going to let anything bring you down. It would be a joint effort, a group effort. And sometimes it does get a little hairy, but, we can handle it. I know I can handle it. I can help you handle it. And make sure that the end result is a great result. But anyways, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments or send me a message or call me. 253-227-2614. However you want to get a hold of me. Take care. Bye.